You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, and you're not broken. But if you've been feeling stuck, like you keep restarting your life without actually moving forward, same goals, new calendar, there's a reason no one ever explains. It's not that your standards are too high, and it's not that they're too low. You're stuck because you don't believe you'll obey them anymore. Once your brain learns that lesson, efforts feel heavier. Motivation stops showing up, and life quietly stalls. Not with failure, but with hesitation. This isn't about grinding harder or wanting it more. It's about the psychology behind why accepting good enough slowly erodes self-respect, and why one anime character's weakness explains this better than most self-help advice ever could, especially in solo leveling. Stay with me. This isn't hype, it's clarity. You don't lack discipline. You lack credibility with yourself. Think about how many promises you've made quietly. I'll start tomorrow. I'll get back on track. And when it doesn't happen, you don't argue with yourself. You just move on, just quietly ghosting your own promises. Not because you didn't care, but because you stopped expecting your words to matter. At first, it feels small, like snoozing an alarm once, then twice, then forever. Eventually, you don't even feel guilty. You just feel tired, detached. Disappointment stops surprising you. You stop reacting. You just adjust. Early on in solo leveling, Jinwoo is injured again. A healer asks if he's okay. He replies, I'm used to it. That's what settling for less sounds like. Not anger, not despair, just acceptance. You didn't lower your standards. You made them optional. Psychology calls this self-efficacy, the belief that your actions matter. Each broken promise teaches the same lesson: my word isn't reliable. Marcus Aurelius warned that we're shaped less by intention and more by what we repeatedly allow. Not dramatic failures, consistent ones. Here's the truth underneath it all. You're not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because you no longer trust yourself. For now, forget the big goals. Set one standard so small it feels almost insulting. And keep it, not to change your life, to rebuild proof that your word still means something. Motivation didn't betray you. It disengaged. You've tried the obvious fixes, new routines, new systems, new bursts of inspiration, and briefly, output increases. Then behavior becomes inconsistent again, and motivation doesn't fight to return. It simply withdraws. It just puts you on red. Here's what behavioral psychology shows. Your nervous system allocates energy based on expected return. If past data suggests this behavior won't last, energy allocation decreases. Motivation is not a starting engine. It's a response system. Low reliability results in low investment. Early on, Jinwoo keeps moving. Not because he believes things will change, but because stopping would feel worse. It's how organizations work. Unreliable processes don't get more resources. They get deprioritized. Your brain does the same thing. Motivation doesn't create consistency. Consistency creates motivation, not intensity, credibility. When behavior becomes reliable, even at a small scale, energy allocation increases again, automatically. Stop asking, do I feel motivated? Ask instead, what's one task I can finish completely? Finish it, then stop. You're restoring system trust. Most people think change starts with identity, but it doesn't. This only works if your brain already trusts you. If it doesn't, this loop collapses. Identity updates from evidence. Every small promise you keep gives your brain proof, and that proof rebuilds self-trust, which slowly turns into identity. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. Sometimes being stuck feels safer than changing. At least here, you know how to fail. You say you want more discipline, more focus, more confidence. But when life actually gives you a chance to change, you hesitate, you overthink, Not because you're incapable, but because changing would come with expectations, pressure, responsibility. So instead of failing loudly, you stall quietly. Psychology calls this identity preservation. Your brain's job isn't to make you successful, it's to keep you consistent, even if that consistency hurts. People defend identities they dislike because predictability feels safer than uncertainty. The familiar self, even the disappointed one, feels comfortable. A new self doesn't. For a long time, Jinwoo doesn't fight who he is. He survives inside it because that version feels predictable. It's like staying in a job you complain about every day, but never leaving. Not because it's good, but because you know exactly who you are there. You don't just fear failing at a higher standard. You fear being responsible for meeting it. Being stuck lets you say, I could have been more. Changing forces you to find out. Stop defending the old version of you. When you catch yourself saying, that's just who I am, or I've always been like this, pause. That's not truth. That's protection. You don't need to attack it. Just stop obeying it. Because the moment you stop protecting the version of you that's stuck, you create space for the one that isn't. Here's where most people turn back. You finally follow through. You keep the promise, and instead of feeling proud, you feel tense, restless, almost irritated. Congratulations. Something is finally working. So you ease up. Not because the standard was wrong, but because the discomfort was unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels dangerous. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance. When behavior improves faster than identity, tension appears. That tension doesn't mean something's broken. It means something is catching up. Your mind is resisting the update. Discomfort isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal of recalibration. Jinwoo fights alone for the first time. Movement stiff, breathing heavy. No celebration, no confidence, just effort. This is where solo leveling gets honest. Change here doesn't feel powerful yet. It feels uncomfortable. It's like going to the gym after years of inactivity. The soreness doesn't mean you're injured. It means your dormant muscles are waking up. Pain isn't the cost of discipline, it's the proof of alignment. Self-respect doesn't arrive as confidence, it arrives as tension. And if you can sit inside that tension without backing down, it fades. The next time keeping a standard feels uncomfortable, don't ask, is this too much? Ask something steadier. Is this new or is this wrong? If it's new, stay, just hold the line. Because the discomfort fades faster than you expect. And what replaces it isn't hype. It's quiet confidence. One day, something strange happens. You do what you said you would do, and it doesn't feel heavy anymore. Which is suspicious because you're used to suffering. Up to this point, discipline felt like friction. Every action required effort. Every decision felt like a test. That's why most people assume discipline is supposed to hurt forever. So, when the pain fades, they get wary. But what's actually happening is the opposite. In psychology, this is called identity consolidation. Character forms when behavior and identity align. Effort drops because resistance disappears. Discipline isn't sustained by willpower. It's sustained by identity agreement. When your mind no longer debates who you are, action becomes simple. Jinwoo now moves decisively. No pause, no internal debate. He doesn't look hyped, he looks certain. The story stops asking if he'll show up, because that question's already been answered. It's like locking the door before you leave. You don't debate it. You don't reward yourself for it. You do it because that's who you are. You'd feel strange not doing it. The goal was never to try harder forever. The goal was to stop arguing with yourself. If discipline still feels heavy, don't escalate. Don't raise the bar again. Just ask, what standard have I already proven I can keep? Keep that one. Because once a standard becomes who you are, it no longer needs effort to survive. At the beginning, the problem wasn't pain. It wasn't effort. It wasn't even failure. It was that quiet sentence, "I'm used to it." That's what settling for less really sounds like. Not hopeless, just familiar. And Solo Leveling understood something most self-help misses. Real change doesn't start when you want more. It starts when you stop tolerating the version of yourself that keeps breaking promises. Not by raising standards overnight, but by enforcing one small one long enough for your brain to believe you again. You don't wake up powerful. You wake up reliable. You stop being stuck the moment your word starts meaning something again.